Hello, 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 and welcome everyone. We're gonna give it a couple moments here to allow people to come on into the live. Give it a couple moments.
Hi, Julie.
Thank you all for joining.
Hello.
Hello. I hope that you all are doing well. I hope we're all ready for the full moon coming up, the full wolf moon, which we have a full wolf moon ceremony taking place at the Pagan Temple, the new Aeon Center on the northwest side of town. It's a free event, so make sure that you check that out. So, okay, now that some of you have come into the room, let's just get right into the gig. Let's get right into it. So here at Spiritual Gardens, we are going to be offering past life regression therapy. So I'm going to talk a little bit, and Amy's going to talk a little bit about what this is, what this means, how this works, how you can essentially get this for yourself and what this can do for you. So to start with, we have two different live streams going right now. We have one from my phone, one from Amy's phone, one from the shop page, and one from my page.
So if you see us going,
yeah, if you see us kind of going back and forth here, that would be why. Okay. So I guess I'll start with a little bit of an introduction because we're on the store page too. So my name is Jasmine. I teach an array of metaphysical and divination classes here at Spiritual Gardens. Mm-hmm. I'm a reader by appointment only, okay? And I am going to be helping facilitate the past life regressions.
Yes.
And I'm sure a lot of them on your page has already seen you, but on my page, if you would give a little intro.
Yes. Hello, my name is Amy. I work here at Spiritual Gardens. I do energy healings, house cleansings, and tarot card readings. I'm here Monday through Friday, 11 to 7.
Cute. So you guys, make sure that you like this video and share this video. Share this video in any groups that you feel like this could be beneficial for, and make sure that you share it also on your Facebook. Okay, support your local coven, support small businesses.
Yes, please.
Please. Okay, so let's get into past life regression. First of all, what is past life regression? Past life regression is a holistic therapy that puts you into a meditative trance state and allows you to essentially access your Akashic records or, previous lives. That is the point of past life regression.
Answering the unknown that we can't get out.
Yes. So, reoccurring themes or values or patterns that you might have in your life now could be coming into play in your life here in the physical from something that has taken place in the past. So past life therapy, past life regression therapy is there to just basically help you connect more with your previous lifetimes, with the idea of reincarnation and tapping into that power, tapping into who you were and what that can teach us for your current lifetime today. This is a form of hypnotherapy.
It's also a common question I always have is, how can I find out if I've had a hex put on me or my ancestors? This would be a great way to kind of find that out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other ways, but this would be another way to tap into that.
If there's something going on generationally.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. So we've put some like description there. So the phone number for the store, you can actually call that number, and by calling that number, you can book your appointment.
It is appointment only.
Appointment only. This is not going to be like a walk-in service. This has to be an appointment only because Amy and I are actually doing this together, which is super cool. So why don't you tell them a little bit about, or actually I guess first we should start with the preliminary.
Yes.
Okay. So when you call the phone number of the store, which is in the description down below, or you can message Spiritual Gardens on Facebook, you can message me on Facebook, you can message Peaceful Clearings on Facebook,
yes,
whatever. When you get in contact with us, first you have to set up a preliminary appointment. This preliminary appointment is where you are going to be meeting with myself, and I am going to be going over your natal chart. So you and I will talk further, about that, but I would need to know your birthday, birth time, birth month, all of your natal information. And then I will cast a chart for you, and we will look at your chart and kind of see, what's going on in that natal chart, what is going on within your IC or your oracular Celi or your past lives or your Akashic records, and see if you would be a candidate for this sort of session. So I will say that, if you are interested in this, you're gonna have to go through a preliminary, kind of screening appointment first to make sure that you are indeed a candidate, because not everyone is a candidate for this. And I just wanna be upfront and honest, about that. Not everyone is gonna be a candidate. So I do need to look at your natal chart first and kind of go through that with you. Another reason why the preliminary appointment is really beneficial is not only can we make sure that you are a candidate, but we can also have a session where you, myself, and Amy can talk a little bit about what to expect. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that in this live tonight. So assuming that you book your preliminary appointment and that everything is good there, the next step is basically we're going to put you up on game about what's going to happen at the appointment. So the appointment will need to be scheduled after the preliminary appointment at least 3 to 4 weeks in advance. So a good moon phase in advance from your preliminary is when you would get your actual regression scheduled. So this is not something, you guys, once again, that you're just gonna walk in and get an appointment. You have to kind of plan this out. So once that is done, there'll be a paper that you're gonna sign, and we'll go over kind of the pros and cons and the risk analysis for having something like this done, because this is something that is very intense and not for the faint of heart. And then, after that, we'll talk a little bit about what you should do before you show up for your appointment, because there are some things you need to do beforehand as well as after. So there is some pre-care and some post-care of things to do before going through a past life regression. And if you guys can hear us okay, comment number 1 down below. I just want to make sure the music's not too loud before I ramble too much further. So if you can hear us okay, comment number 1 down below. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the pre-care and the post-care. And then when you come actually for the appointment, thank you guys so much. Thank you. So when you come for the actual appointment, you're going to have a deposit that you'll have to pay at the preliminary. That deposit will count towards your appointment fee. And if you have any questions, you can, like I said, message us or message the store or call the store, and Jeanette can kind of talk to you guys as well. But when you show up, you're going to be taken into our private room. So it'll just be private. You know, it's not public. This is something that's very private. Very private. So when you get taken into the room, walk them through a little bit of what happens in the beginning.
Okay. Well, before I get started on that, I want to make sure people know, like I said, you have to put a deposit down. That's parts as the payment of the whole thing, but it is non-refundable. That's just for people who are like wishy-washy. And of course, you know, if you first come to us and during the initial, you know, consultation, and then you call and say, okay, I'm not sure I want to do it, then obviously we're not going to be like, well, you're out of luck, you know, because if you haven't paid. But the non-refundable is just to make sure, you know, we're not getting people in back and forth, okay? Now, when we first take you back to the room, it will just be with me. So Jasmine's part is pretty much to kind of, make you go out in the clouds.
Yeah.
That's her job.
Yeah, Amy really is going to work on your body.
Yes.
I'm going to work on your mind.
Yes.
So.
And that's her job, to tap into, you know, the unknown, the Akashic records, all that stuff, and kind of float around. My job, and since I do energy healings here, first you'll come in, I'll assess your chakras, your energy, see what's going on there, you know, cleanse what I need to get cleansed, and then I'll pick stones accordingly to what your body calls for, because everyone is different, and then I'll place them on you to kind of, you know, keep those chakras open, but also to keep you grounded, and to also heal something, you know, negative energy or trauma that's been just, you know, anxiety, just stuff going on in everyone's life, you know. So that's going to kind of help balance that out, to kind of calm you down. And then she comes in, you know, after I've done my work, and then she'll get started. But I'm there the whole time because I'm pretty much the grounding rod. She's ripping you out. I'm making sure that your body and that you are still on this plane. You're not just totally gone, because you don't want to be just totally gone. That's not good.
Right.
So my job is to keep you semi-grounded. And then when she's done, you know, lifting you out, we bring you back down as accordingly. And then she'll leave the room. I'll cleanse you, and I'll make sure you're grounded, and I'll go over everything with you of what you should do for grounding stuff afterwards. And another thing, you know, before we do all this, I make sure all the stones are cleansed. I make sure the room is cleansed. And it's not just sage, you know, it's different and multiple herbs too as well. But my job is just to make sure you stay here and that your chakras are cleansed beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so we are absolutely witches, I just want to say, and we are metaphysical practitioners. So this is not something to, you know, be in place of mental health or physical health sorts of therapy. We are holistic healers that can work in tandem with. So I don't want to give the impression that
I am not a doctor.
neither one of us are doctors. Okay, so I don't want to give the impression that this is going to, you know, take the place of that.
Right.
So I encourage everyone to seek the help of a mental health practitioner, you know, a healthcare provider. But with that being said, you know how when you go to like a med check or you go see your doctor, the first person who comes in the room is kind of like the nurse practitioner, who kind of like makes sure everything is good. That's kind of like what Amy is going to be doing. Amy is going to be coming in and taking a look at your chakras and calming you down and cleansing you and preparing you for this metaphysical journey, okay? And once Amy has done so, they're going to come to me and bring me into the room and let me know kind of like what's going on. You know, what happened prior to that, and then once that is done, I'll enter the room and they'll still be with you, and they're basically going to be your anchor to the physical world, because with past life regression, we're essentially pulling your spirit in two directions. So part of your spirit will still be in your body, and part of your spirit will be in the astral or the other world or the aether or whatever you want to call it. So, you know, you will be entering somewhat of a trance state, and you will feel like you are almost like you're half awake, half asleep. So Amy is there to make sure that you're divinely protected Nothing can harm you. I mean, the store and the room is very blessed and very cleansed, of course, but also Amy is going to be physically working on your body. While at the same time, I'll be working in tandem, but more so like with your mind. So, while you are laying on the bed with the crystals over you, we'll have some music playing, some candles going, some incense going. Amy will be working on your body, and then you'll hear my voice.
Just have some sound on you. This is just one of them that might be on you.
Yeah. And then you'll hear my voice kind of shepherding you and guiding you through a past life regression therapy session. So I just wanted to make sure that we came on here and that we talked a little bit about this tonight. And we'll answer some questions. If you guys have any questions, Q&A, please comment them down below.
Hi, Sydney.
Hi, Sid. But if you guys had any questions, I wanted to make sure that we answered those. So, sure. Hit us with the questions.
Sarah Lynn Holtzclaw would like to know the price of past life regression.
Okay, so the price of the past life regression. So this is our price as it stands right now, which of course is always subject to change. It can change with sales or times of year, but for right now, the past life regression session is $90, and that is not including your preliminary. And the preliminary is mandatory in order to qualify to have this sort of therapy session done. Because this session is by appointment only, and you have to have a preliminary first, because not everyone is going to be a candidate.
Next question. Hold, please.
Hold, please.
Erica Allen asked, what can we expect to experience internally during the session?
Okay, so this is a really good question. So what you're going to experience, like I said, is part of you will feel like you are asleep. So, you're going to feel kind of like that waking state where, you're half awake, half asleep. So you're going to possibly feel some numbness, some tingling. You're going to feel kind of like out of your body. You're going to feel kind of like pulled in two directions. You shouldn't necessarily feel physically ill, and I don't believe that any of you would feel like you're in physical pain. Although having like an emotional experience is very common. So while you're going through the regression, some people start, crying or, experiencing some anxiety or some tension.
And that's what I'm here for, to kind of balance that out when she's doing it. Afterwards, as she said before to a client, you kind of might feel hungover, but we would talk in person and I would go
at
over
the preliminary.
Yeah, how that would help afterwards, and how would you not feel hungover, aftercare, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like aftercare of a tattoo or aftercare of whatever, you know what I mean?
Or like with anything.
Yes.
Yeah. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
It was, what can we expect to experience internally?
Okay, so what can you expect to experience internally? I don't know if we answered that question or not, but
I think we did.
well, talking about the regression, I just want to say, because I've gotten this question myself, is people ask me, am I going to see things? Am I going to hear things? Possibly. I can't say for you. That's kind of part of that preliminary appointment, is kind of assessing where we are at per the natal chart. But some people experience auditory hallucinations. Some people will experience visual hallucinations. And, your eyes are going to be covered because it's going to be like a relaxation inducing environment. So the visual hallucinations that you're going to see are going to be like seeing flashing images in your mind. Some people also experience smell. So when you're going through the regression, you might smell the smell of a campfire or a burning building or perfume or cologne. That's normal, and that's to be expected. Yeah.
Next question is from Ethan Carpenter, who would like to know how much the preliminary meeting costs.
So the preliminary meeting is going to cost $85 as it stands right now. The $85 is so that way I can pull your full natal chart and go over that with you.
It's
and
a
that
full reading.
It's a full, yeah.
So it's not just, hey, we're sitting down for 5 minutes. It could take like 30 minutes to an hour probably.
It's going to be at least an hour. The preliminary expect, I would say, for at least an hour. And also that is going to include me being able to have Amy in the session as well. So that way, you know, if you have any questions for them, they can address that with you in terms of what their role is here in this procedure. So the preliminary is $85.
Next question is from Stacy.
Hi, Stacy.
Kind of two-part maybe.
Okay.
It says, how do you know if this is for you and or is this something for all religions?
So I think we both can answer this, but I'll start.
I'll start with the how do you know if this is for you, and then I'll have you do the religion.
If you feel like it is.
Okay, so this is absolutely, you don't have to be any specific denomination. I myself have clients who are Christians, who are Muslims, who are atheists, who are pagans, Buddhists. You do not have to be any specific religion to get something out of this sort of therapy. This can be for anyone, and myself personally, I think that it's really beneficial for a lot of people because it gives us a chance to reflect and rejuvenate, and at the very least, you're going to be put into a relaxed state, and you're going to just get that good juicy healing out of it. So I think that this is something for everyone, regardless of your personal faith. You don't have to be, you know, you don't even have to be a witch to get something out of this. I mean, you can be anything. You can be a practicing Jew. You can be an atheist. And I personally welcome skeptics. So if you're feeling skeptical of this whole thing, or you're like, I don't know, like, I would love for you to come for a preliminary. I would love an opportunity to talk to you.
As far as is it correct for me? Well, you're going to know right off the bat. I mean, your gut's going to tell you one. But having said that, when you come here and you do the preliminary, that is when you really know if this is something you should do. And if it's not something that you should do, I mean, you get an astrology chart reading, you know, you go over, you know, your sun sign, moon sign, all that. So that's fun too. But that is when I think you will really know. And if you've just been wanting to know questions about your ancestors and your past life, then that's going to be good for you.
Yeah. And, you know, if you're questioning, is this for me? It probably is. But we will go over that at your preliminary as well. Because like I said, this is not a service that you just pay for and walk in the door.
Right.
No, this is by appointment only, and you do have to have that preliminary session to see if you're a candidate, because not everyone is going to be a candidate. So that's important to say.
Next question from Jen Elvidge is another two-parter. First part says, how long does the session take? Which could be either for either session. And is it recorded so that we can listen to the answers?
Well, the preliminary will take about an hour. So when you book your prelim, I would book for at least an hour. And the past life regression, I would say probably a good hour to hour and a half. So you can expect to kind of schedule that for yourself, which we talk about this at the prelim as well. What you need to do before, you know, you undergo this sort of appointment and service. You know, aftercare, before care. So, did you have anything to add to that?
No.
Okay.
And is it recorded so that you can listen to the answers?
Oh, I'm okay with that.
I think that would be up to the client. Some clients don't want it recorded, some want it just written down. So I think, I mean, as long as you're consenting, then I don't see
Yeah, and I would say
with
too,
that.
we personally are not going to be recording it. So if you would like your session recorded, like you can turn the video or audio on your phone, but I have no issues with that. I'm just not responsible for the recording. So, yeah.
Ethan Carpenter asked, what if we've lived more than one life? Would you be able to see them all or just one?
So that's something that we would talk about during your preliminary. For the preliminary appointment, we talk about basically all of that. And past life regression can work through multiple lives, so not just one, but we can access your most recent per your IC, which is your south cardinal point within your natal chart.
Which you go over in the preliminary.
Which I go over in the preliminary. Yeah. So if all of that sounds like a bunch of like astrologer mumbo jumbo, that's fine because we go over all of that in the preliminary. But yes, we can access as many past lives as possible. And you don't just have to come for one session. If you come for one session and want to do another one, we can do that as well. So, and we can access multiple different lifetimes as well. But your natal chart will have just one in it. And that, in my experience, my practice, is the one that we want to start with first. And then we can kind of go from there. But yeah, those kind of things we do talk about in the prelim. Okay. Oh, we have a question here on the SG one.
This is how long the session takes. I forgot that one.
Okay.
Hi, Vaughn. Hi.
So I think that's really it.
I think so.
Did you have
any more questions?
If anyone's just tuning in, again, this is about our new service we're offering, the Past Life Regression. It's going to be led by Jasmine. I'm going to be there kind of as the grounding rod. This is going to be by appointment only. You can call the store, message us. You have to go over the preliminary first session to see if you're a candidate. And then after that, if you want to make an appointment, you put down a deposit, and then you come in whenever your appointment is and get everything going.
Mm-hmm.
Right and tight.
So Jen from the SG page said, what would make someone not a candidate? So
I would say someone who's really scared, someone who's going through a lot right now, someone who is just feel like down in the dumps, just depressed, or going through something that is mentally making them worry, or just something, not being stable. Because if you come in and it's just, chakras are out of whack, what I recommend first is doing an energy healing session, then coming in. You can always do the preliminary because that's just a natal chart reading. And then you can do the energy healing session. We're going to have calm you down. Because you never want to go in a trance when you're not in a good mind state. That goes with doing spells, that goes with doing anything. You don't want to be in a bad mind state when you want to be out in the clouds, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so when you come for a prelim, the things that I'm looking for is what is going on with your IC of your natal chart, and a lot of what I'm about to say.
I think some people might not know.
Yeah, a lot of what I'm about to say is going to sound like witchy astrological jargon. I don't expect you to know that. I don't expect you to, but this is what I'm looking for. So when we look at a natal chart, the IC is the furthermost southern quadrant of a natal chart, and the innocuous celi, the IC, that is where the Akashic records lie within a chart. So it's a difficult question to answer because I'm looking at things that fall within 6 to 12 degrees of the left or the right of the IC, which probably sound like nothing to you.
Basically, if you're in the middle, then we got something going on.
Yeah.
If you're on the outside.
Well, and then I'm also looking at where your Pluto is, where your Saturn is, because sometimes there are reasons why we have blockages in our IC.
And that's when we contact, the spirits and the unknown in your past life and say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah. So things that would disqualify someone, like Amy said, first of all, if you're not open to this sort of experience, that's going to disqualify you.
Right.
If you are afraid of having this sort of experience, you do need to give a little bit of trust. Sorry, I got a hair on my mouth. You do have to give a little bit of trust to the practitioners who are leading the service, i.e. Amy and myself. So if you are not trusting us, or if you are afraid, this is not going to be the service for you. If you're not open to this sort of service, this is not going to be the service for you. Potentially, if you don't have much around, if you don't have much around your IC, then this is not going to be the service for you. Now, I'm not saying that if you don't have planetarian or asteroidian influences around your IC, you're automatically not a candidate, because I would have to also look and see about your Pluto and your Saturn. Also, if you're not willing to do the pre-care and post-care that is talked about in the preliminary. So pre-care, make sure that you take a nice shower before you come. Clear your schedule. You're gonna have to take a ritual bath before you arrive. And make sure that your hair, for those of you who have longer hair, make sure it's worn down and loose.
Yeah.
And we have a document that you're gonna sign, but basically I want your consent that you will be touched physically and touched spiritually, because Amy, like I said, is going to be working on your body. I'm going to be working on your mind. Okay, so we have to have that consent prior to. If you're not willing to do those things, that would disqualify you. Also, there's aftercare. So we talk about that in the preliminary, but if any of those things you're not willing to do, you would not be qualified. There's also a deposit fee to actually book the regression. So if you're not willing to pay the $30 deposit fee,
Non-refundable.
it's non-refundable. If you're not willing to pay that, then you would not be qualified. So,
You're welcome.
Did we have any other questions?
We haven't had any come in.
Did you have anything that you wanted to add or say?
No, I think I went over everything.
I think I did too. Cool. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to call the store down below. The number is listed in the description, or you can message me, or Amy, or Peaceful Clearings, or whatever. So we're very excited. I'm very excited to be kind of bringing Amy into some of this, and I'm excited to get to work with Amy. And for those of you who might not know us,
but different work.
Yeah, we're very different, and I think that's what's going to make these sessions so enriching.
Yes.
Is because you're getting kind of both sides of the coin. The physical and the astral, the body and the mind. So I'm very excited. So that's all I have to say. So yeah, I think we're gonna sign out. Until next time.
Have a
Bye.
great night. Be safe.
Bye.